Mr. Garcia is simply to wrap up and to summarize the more than 4 hours interpellations. To be very simple, you don't even have to consult your lawyer. You said in your testimony that in September to November 2010, both AMLA and the BSP were conducting an internal audit of your bank, which is PS Bank. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Yes. You also said that politically exposed persons, and you defined what PEPs are, did you do that, were part of this investigation in the 2 months of 2010, which included Chief Justice Corona. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. It was not the only account looked in.
It was not the only account. There were other so-called PEPs.
Yes, Your
Just
Honor.
for the record, very briefly, could you define what a PEP is?
A PEP is a politically exposed person. Under the AMLA rules,
Yes.
we are required to classify those that hold, that are elected officials and high appointed officials as politically exposed persons.
Yes, yes. Thank you. You defined that earlier. I just wanted to be clarified. So in those 2 months of September, October, November of 2010, the routine internal audit of the BSP and the AMLA jointly were doing that internal audit of PS Bank, which included an investigation into PEPs who had deposits in PS Bank, including the account of Chief Justice Corona, but not the only account. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor, but the inquiry is done by an AMLA, not
By
not
the AMLA.
not
The BSP did not inquire into the Corona account, but
No,
AMLA
Your Honor.
did that.
No, no.
Was it customary in the annual internal audit that the AMLA would be jointly investigating with the BSP?
I think the AMLA under the law is allowed to deputize the BSP.
Yes.
Yes.
If there is a court order. Was there a court order when the investigation of the AMLA from September, October, and November of 2010 was conducted in PS Bank?
I don't believe we have such a court order, Your Honor.
Oh, so you allow the investigation, the joint investigation between BSP and AMLA, even in the absence of a court order?
I cannot be certain about that, Your Honor.
That's okay. And you said there were other PAPs who were being investigated apart from CJ Corona. Are you at liberty to tell us who were the other politically exposed persons who were being investigated?
I don't recall their names right now, Your Honor, but there were a few of them, some of them.
Yes. And you also mentioned in your earlier testimony that photocopies of Chief Justice Corona's accounts and or the signature cards were given to both the BSP and AMLA. Am I correct?
As far as our the records of our examination, yes, Your Honor.
Yes, yes. And I think the Senate President, the presiding officer, requested already AMLA to submit what you just mentioned, the signature cards. Based on the differences that we see from Annex A and the documents which came from your bank, there are clearly differences, which you cited earlier.
Very clearly and quite
Yes, there
a
are
number.
differences, quite a number, yes. On the signatures, Annex A, just for the record, came from the prosecution. But it had the same number of accounts and the same account numbers as those on the original document, which the photocopy of which I am holding now.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Yes. The name of the account is the same. The address, which you said can be accessed publicly based on any public record. However, the information, the account numbers, and the signatures of your staff who did their signatures beside the account numbers are the same personnel, right?
Similar, Your Honor.
Similar. No, the same names, similar signatures, but there are modifications.
We believe so, Your Honor.
Alterations. However, is the information on the account numbers accurate?
It is accurate, Your Honor.
Is there any one number in any account number that is different?
Not that we have noted, Your Honor.
So the only differences would be signatures, and what is very clear as a very blatant, obvious difference would be the PEP or the PEP.
Yes, Your Honor. The pen used is
Yes.
thicker, and our records in the Annex A is thinner. Even the presentation of the account numbers is slightly different. If it will be submitted for technical analysis, it would show that it is different. The presentation, there's slight differences as to what is this, from one point to the other.
Yes, apart from that, the word PEP is not in the PS Bank document, but
That-
is in the Annex A document.
That
Is
is,
that correct?
yes, Your Honor, that's a very glaring difference.
There is no PEP in what I'm holding. But the Annex A, okay, sa taas wala, yes. In the Annex A document, there is a PEP on top, and there is no PEP in the document, photocopy at least, given to me by your legal counsel from the bank.
Yes, Your Honor.
There is a marked difference. Could it be possible, Mr. Garcia, that the source of Annex A could still have come from your bank? However, there were alterations or modifications made because probably both the BSP and the AMLA were studying this document, since you said the AMLA was involved in the investigation. In short, because you gave photocopies to both BSP and AMLA based on their own investigations, they were doing notes, and they could have had those modifications.
If we get
They could have written on
if-
those documents.
If we get a photocopy of the original, Your Honor, there are items that are in the photocopy that are not in the original. And so what we're saying actually, with these, the other items that we have indicated, even the signatures, what we're saying is this particular Annex A cannot be a photocopy of the document that we hold.
You're saying that Annex A cannot, by any stretch of the imagination, be a photocopy of your document? Or could it possibly be that it is a photocopy of a document which was based on the source document, which is from the bank, but with modifications because the people who had custody of that document were studying it and did notes, adding PEP, adding underlines, and having signatures?
The only thing that we can declare, Your Honor, it is not a photocopy of our document. And
It is clearly not a photocopy because it had a PEP on top and yours did not have.
Yes.
And that is not my question. My only question is, of course, when you have an original document which is photocopied and I write on the photocopied document, it will not be a photocopy of the original because I already put notes and modifications on that. So it is not a faithful reproduction of the original, but it is still a reproduction initially, but I put notes because I was studying that document. All I'm saying that, is there a possibility that the source document still could have come from your bank, not a leak, but because you gave the BSP and the AMLA a copy of the original document, they had it, they were studying it, and therefore there were modifications. But the account numbers are accurate, and those accounts actually exist and have been testified on.
I cannot answer that, Your Honor, because we can only look at the original documents. What our possibilities actually are just, we do not want to speculate on how this Annex A was completed or anything of that sort. We're just saying actually that the Annex A is not a photocopy of our document. As a matter of fact, I personally find strange that there are certain things in the Annex A which are different from the photocopy. Like for example, in our document, Manila is MLA. In the photocopy, there are periods between M, L, and A. In our original document and a photocopy of our document, you will see very clearly Filipino being FIL. In this Annex A, it looks like it's FII.
Yes.
So, you know,
There are many differences.
there's so significant number of
May I
difference.
know whether the presiding officer on the impeachment court had requested you to submit a memo on all the differences between Annex A and your photocopied document, and your original document?
We were not specifically requested to, but we would be prepared to
With
do
the
so.
permission of my colleagues in the impeachment court and the presiding officer, everything that he is saying now, apart from the fact that he testified on that, so that it is clear, could you give us a matrix on the differences between the bank document and Annex A? Was given to BSP and AMLA and modified because of studies being and investigations being conducted, but of course you are not competent to say that.
The gentleman from Pampanga.
Yes. Thank you.